This is the Said No One Ever podcast.
A podcast about things you never knew you wanted to hear about.
I'm Ian Bennett.
And I'm Martin Moore.
Let's get into it. Man, let's get into this, Martin.
Dude.
How did we come here? How did we ever get here? How did we see the light at the end of the tunnel, my man?
Here we are. Teasing our brand new podcast, the Said No One Ever podcast.
Said no one
Dude.
ever. I gotta give you your props, man.
So you didn't like the name of the podcast at first.
No, you know what's funny? You're right. I didn't.
I struggled trying to find something because it was like every good thing. Like I wanted to title it clickbait, and I was like, there's got to be somebody that's got that. And I basically went to Apple Podcasts, and I was just searching in there. I had a list of like catchphrases and names I thought would work, and it was like every single one was taken. Yeah. And then I came across to Said No One Ever, and I thought it was an interesting title for a podcast because the whole ethos and mantra of this podcast is coming up with interesting topics that you otherwise don't hear people talk about. We're going to be doing one on hustle porn. We're going to be doing one on cult culture, can Gen Z and racism, and just so really fascinating topics that, you know, people typically don't talk about. So I thought it was a mediocre at best.
No, but it was
brilliant. But it was not taken. The SEO wasn't taken.
No, you're right. And then as you're coming up with all these topics, that's when it hit me.
It started making sense.
Yeah, because then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this guy, you put 4 topics in, then I'm like, okay, but then you start rattling it off, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, this is the title. And then to cap it off with the image, dude, spot on. Like I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
It took me a while to create that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make a silhouette of someone and make it look like them. And I couldn't get my hair right. I couldn't get your jawline right for something. I couldn't get the Billy your hat right. Yeah. But I don't know, it's a dope. You had suggested the idea of silhouettes, and I was like, dude, we could do my sunglasses and your IB26 hat. Dude. And it looks so dope.
It honestly does. It brings everything together. And the best part is, when you see it, you know that's Martin.
Yep.
That's Ian.
Exactly.
And I think that's so cool and iconic, right? Yeah. Because that could be, this could be a start of, you never know. People just see that, they're like, oh man, that's Martin, that's Ian, you know?
I also tried to make myself as gray as possible so I could still be a silhouette so people knew I was white.
Dude, it's hilarious. Yeah, the color scheme was awesome, right? The color scheme was awesome.
But I'm so jacked for this podcast. You have your Inspire Greatness podcast, and I've been fortunate to be a guest on that so many times. And so I was super humbled when you hit me up and you're like, dude, we need to do something together because we have... Yeah, you have a very similar energy to me. You're funny. We vibe from the first podcast that you invited me on, and so I was so jacked, man, that you invited me to create something.
Do you know what's funny? How as soon as I interviewed you, I was like, and I didn't know what I was gonna do after, but I'm like, dude, I gotta link up with this guy after. And then that's when this whole thing hit me. I was like, man, I want to get a little edgier. I want to talk about the topics that really mean something to me, and obviously my Inspire Greatness podcast, it's all about highlighting great people, and I love it, right? And I want to keep inspiring people. Yeah, it's perfect for that. But for this other platform, I needed obviously somebody that's knowledgeable a lot, and your knowledge about random stuff is amazing. And I was like, just your energy when I interviewed you and everything, I was like, dude, I gotta figure it. I was literally gonna just come to your office and just hang out with you.
Hey, that'd be fine.
I was really gonna do that. I'm like, I need to be around this dude. I need to work with this guy. So I came up with the idea, and then it just took off, and it was just great. And maybe doing this show, we'll find out that you're not that funny.
We're gonna learn a lot about each other.
Yes,
it's like we're dating.
Yeah, it's like our first date. We're gonna see how the honeymoon goes. You know, the honeymoon phase, and then we'll see when we get into a couple more shows. You know?
See who puts out first.
Yeah, exactly. You might have to work a little hard, man. I don't know. I'm not that easy, man. But
this is the Said No One Ever podcast. I'm Martin Moore. Ian Bennett,
man.
Stay tuned for episode 1. We're having Sam Lister on, and we're going to be talking about hustle porn.
I'm excited.
Stay tuned. Follow us on at Said No One Pod on social media.
Hey, you got Twitter? We got everything.
Yeah, man. We got it all.
Jeez.
MySpace?
MySpace? Man, oh man, I used to love MySpace, but that's dating us, right? Is that dating us? Probably. All right, my man. Well, hey, get ready, listeners. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I'm excited, man. It's going to be great. Thanks for listening.
Catch us on our social at Said No One Pod.
See you next time.
This show recorded and produced at Edge Podcast Network, edgemke.com, and brought to you by the National Podcast Association, nationalpodcastassociation.com. On next week's episode...
But hustle porn, man. It's all about the hustle, right?
Grind.
It's the grind. It's the feeling. It's moving around.
Do more.
Big question.
Yes.
And this is for both of you. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Well, first let's tell people what hustle porn
porn
really is first.
So you're going to break the definition down.
Let's break the definition down really quick.
I love it.
So basically, hustle porn is like the glorification of being a workaholic. It's almost like the fetishization
I love it.
of entrepreneurship, overworking yourself, just being busy all the time, and then posting that on social media and just obsessing over of being a workaholic. That's basically what hustle porn is.
I agree. I love that. So is that exactly? So is that a man? Actually, after you said the definition, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. See, so I came across in air quotes. I'm going to do air quotes a lot on this show throughout all the episodes. In air quotes, hustle porn. I found it on this link or this Twitter profile called Best of LinkedIn. And basically what they do is they like screen grab. Do you know this, Sam?
I think so.
Yeah, they screen grab basically like hustle porn content from like LinkedIn, and then they share it on there. And it's just crazy over the top stuff. They have this one thing called hashtag Made Up Kid Mondays, where like people will say, my 6-year-old came into the bedroom the other day and jumped on the bed and asked me what the point of life was, and I explained to her that you got to work hard. All this stuff that this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's basically just people that peddle hustling and grinding BS on social media. And so that's kind of how I became aware of, again in air quotes, the term hustle porn.
Yeah, exactly.